I have a dream to have an expressive arts therapy studio. I'd love to have a practice where there is music, there's poetry, there's journaling, there's art, there's sculpture, everything. So for my Capstone project, I decided to try to do a little something with my own art with my clients. See their reactions to it, see if it would deepen the experience, just see what that might do, just as an experiment. I would love to be able to make art right next to my clients, with them, sharing it, talking about it, that type of thing. So I did. So I did that, and I had an internship that was everybody from 3 to 5-year-olds to 92-year-olds. So I had 4 different sites, and so I'm going to just share with you what happened when I tried this little experiment. This is my first piece, and I brought this in and showed it to one of my little 4-year-olds, and I asked her, "What do you see?" And she said, "The bird can't fly, it's falling." So I said, "So what does the flower say to the bird?" The flower says nothing. It can't even hear the bird. I said, "Is the bird talking?" It says, "Help me." This little girl, we took swimming one day, and she was deathly afraid of the water. She wouldn't go in. She was terrified. With the counselors there, we finally eased her into the water with a lot of love and care. And before she did, I talked to her about whether she had ever fallen into the water before. And sure enough, she had. She had been in an accident where she had almost drowned, and just talking to her was able to give her the trust to go into the water. Quite a few people responded to this. I always thought it was a kind of a psychological piece. I call it envy. The reason I call it envy is that, you know, I kind of personify these buds, and they're looking down and at this beautiful flower, you know, envious and not knowing that they have everything inside of them that they're seeing, which is a lot about us, isn't it? So I had this other little boy, just 4. I showed him this picture. He was one of 3 brothers, and I kind of assumed he would pick out that one of these funny faces, that's what I called him, was him. But he didn't. And I thought this would be his mother. This is what I assumed. But I asked him, "So, you know, can you see these little funny faces?" He says, "Yes." "Who are they?" You know, he said, "Well, this one is you, and this one is my mom, and this one is Precious. This is his dog that died. And who's this?" "That," he said, "is me." I said, "Okay, cool." So, but then this brought up more about this dog. You know, I'm thinking, okay, why is it these 3 are these 3 love objects? Me, because we had an incredible bond. You know, his mother, of course, but his dog. So I started to ask him more about that, and we knew that he had watched his dog be hit by a car, and he was harboring feelings of guilt. He thought it was his fault, and I ended up really pressing to him that it was not his fault, not his fault. So that was how he looked at it, and what developed, that was the conversation that we got, the therapy I got from this with him. This is an orchid that I did, and to my little 4-year-old, another little 4-year-old girl. She didn't see it as that, which is really so cool. So I asked her, "What do you see?" And she said, "The bird is in his little house." And I said, "Oh yes, I see the bird. What is the bird doing?" "She is scared because she's all alone and she is crying." This, of course, led to a talk about, have you ever been alone and crying? You know, how do you feel? And she told me about what it's like for her to be alone, to have been left alone. So that was pretty incredible. Okay, so this is the final one. I call this Inside the Rose. I had a 15-year-old who was possibly sexually abused. I showed her a lot of my work because she was interested in seeing it. And she liked this one best. And I wondered why. She never told me about the sexual abuse. You know, we're thinking maybe that it was repressed, but it was okay. I asked her, why, tell me, why do you like this one best? And she said, it's like the bud is just beginning to bloom. And I just like roses, I like the color. She didn't want to go any farther than that, and that was fine, of course. But it was interesting, because shortly after that, she brought up the subject of boys and boyfriends. And so I asked about that, and she said that she had never had a boyfriend, nor did she ever want a boyfriend, and that she really thought she'd never marry or have children. And so that brought, you know, another discussion about what that was all about. But, you know, maybe it was because of this image, I'm not sure.